Jeff, I'm looking at you. Why don't you
Well,
introduce?
good morning and happy new year to everyone. I'm Jeff Jones, Executive Director of Hope Village Revitalization. Greetings, everybody.
Hey, Jeff? We also have,
Hi everyone, Emily Embick with you and I as well. And Happy New
Good morning, everybody. Teresa Landrum,
Year.
Southwest Detroit 48217.
and Lisa, that's it, and Josh? Yes. And sorry, Emily and Teresa, there's probably a lag. There's a little bit of overlap, so I think it might be our internet over here, because there's a lot of folks on it, so. And we wanted to just do a quick icebreaker around the room. What were your some of 2024 wins? There's a lot of wins. There was a couple of losses. So, anybody have any wins to report?
Sure, I'll say the AQ 101 could be celebrated as a win. It was a big event that we were able to have it in three different organizations, three different hubs for the community. I think it was well attended and the community was able to learn a lot. We gave monitors out, so I think it was a win.
Yeah. Anybody else?
You want them to be sort of truck route
Oh, it
related?
could be, no, it could be your organization or trucks related.
The village of CDC managed to get DWSD to fix about 40 broken storm drains for the villages that, some of which have been broken for like literally the entire time I lived over there. So what we did was we partnered with neighborhood groups and we're like, which storm drains bother you? And so they went around and picked them and I was like, okay, here's the list. We've been all to improve Detroit. And you know, we ended up going to Board of Water Commissioners meetings, because like when you put the site in Improve Detroit, it would just hang out there indefinitely. But when you have like, you know, residents saying, this has been broken since the late 90s,
Oh my God, yeah.
like they managed to get crews out a little bit more expeditiously. So that was one. Another win was we focused on a blight reduction initiative on Cadillac Boulevard, which had probably about a dozen vacant and blighted apartment buildings. And we're like, this is stupid. Nobody lives here. Well, the owners are just letting them rot. Like they might be for sale for like $2 million. And this is not good for the neighborhood. So we employed a similar tactic where we identified the properties. We sent residents to city council meetings and the city began suing the owners of these properties. And so like of the original dozen, about half of them have been sold. A couple have been torn down and a couple are on their way to being redeveloped. So, you know, really basic bite-sized things that we take for granted everywhere else. We've been doing a pretty good job of racking up some incremental ones.
That's really Those are great. great stories. And we're all learning from that, you know, that's as a tactic, right? So we've got a win to report to. We have a lot of traffic violence. I know we've repeated this story over and over again, right on Clark and Brandon and Scotton. And there's been a lot of like, this is one of the truck routes issues, right? Like they have not put speed bumps in there. The streets weren't even marked right, or there used to be crosswalks and things like that. So I really want to attribute this to Carolyn. She's been wrestling up a lot of residents and engaging and calling them the city and inviting them to meetings. We got one speed bump and we got some, I don't know what they're called. They're like yellow stanchions that are like bolted into the ground. And I have a video of a truck trying to go north on Clark. They had to back up. Meanwhile, I'm running, taking video of this truck. Excuse me while I plug somebody. Hi, Lise. Good to see you. I'm sorry. Good to see you. So we recorded the whole thing and they were backing up. And I just think like they'll never come down that street again because they can't make that route. They can't make that turn. And so because of that, sending lots of messages to the city asked us to co-write asphalt art grant with them and to do, they've got a bunch of locations and they said, which of these locations do you want to do? And so it's just fantastic to be working with the city and having them recognize the residents and their work and the need for these slow streets. So we're in the middle of writing that. It's due at the end of January. But we went from like complaining, you know, emailing to, hey, let's write a grant together. So that's really, really great for us. We're really happy about it. So yeah, anybody else? Anybody else have wins for their organization in 2024? Dia de los Muertos. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, along with Councilmember Santiago Romero's office, we were able to help avert kind of a catastrophe around Michigan Avenue, and basically the business community and the residential community were at each other's throats, and we managed to kind of help dial it back down, get people to listen to one another, and everybody's been paying attention to the plans that MDOT has been bringing forth. I think they put forth a plan last month that now kind of has everybody just a little disappointed, but I think that also means that, you know, we found a way to build some consensus from, you know, taking it up to 11.
Yeah. That's, I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah.
Because MDOT is a mystery and MDOT has a lot to do with what's going on. So we'd love to connect more on like what, you know, we want to know how they and how they put their plans together, right? They come, by the time that we know about them, they've already done their engagement or whatever, right? So anybody else?
Yeah, you know, the Muertos, I think was the one, thanks for bringing that up, Rico. Yeah, I thought, you know, I thought it was a great event, a beautiful event. I think like the gains out of that was, you know, it let a lot of community know what's going on, got them interested. And really bring the youth into it a lot, you know, they made the signs for it, they made a big banner for it, they led the march for it, and I think it was also great to see you know, marching on some actions being introduced to the youth that haven't done things like that before, or others who haven't done it before. I think that's going to be, you know, a great tool to use in future initiatives.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yes.
Hey,
Teresa.
Joette. Hey, how you coming?
Oh.
Did you want to say something, Teresa, about a win from last year? Hey, Teresa, if you can hear me, can you mute while you're talking?
Yeah, there's a delay. Okay, and if there's any other wins, just let us know and we'll either add them at the end. I just want to say that we did a retreat with the team at SDEV and we had this whole agenda. And at the last minute, we changed it. We were like, we want to start with wins, and we writing them down and spending time and thinking about them. We actually had many more wins, you know, and sometimes it's a lot of advocacy and where you don't physically see them, and just writing them down, even so we even applied for lots of grants. Even if we don't get them, those are wins because we, you know, you're thinking through what you want to do, and you know, so we wanted to start with wins because we think that there's a lot going on, and we want to celebrate those things, right? So, okay, well, thank you, everybody. I'll pass it to Nicole.
All right. So it's a quick recap on the AQ 101 event. As I know many of you were not able to attend in December, and just wanted to let you know like the things that we were able to achieve through this event. We have over 14 collaborating groups. So not just those who were at the table, we have other allies and organizations who were contributing to make this event successful. We had about 274 participants. That is including about 100 people who joined via Zoom. So we had 174 people who were actually like in the room, present, engaging, learning, doing activities for the event. About 45 postcards have been written to City Council through the activity, and we handed out that day 150 air monitors, mobile air monitors. So that is great. So that's some of the highlights of the AQ 101 event. I did wanted to ask, you know, after the event, we did contacted everyone via email, everyone who did provided an email. We sent out, hey, this is what we achieved, and we also gave them the information about contacting their city council member, how to do it, what to do, their addresses, so they could still take action. Is there anything else that you would all as a table like to see to go out afterwards, to all those who attended, or any other next steps?
So I think, we've been talking about doing a mapping exercise, and I think we should send out an email saying, if you're seeing lots of trucks, you know, send us your intersections or an address. Because this is coupled with another kind of win, right? With the air monitors that were portable. Just Air also has like 2 monitors per organization at the table to put in locations, right? And they really kind of had urgency in December. You might have seen an email like, hey, people were going on break, and we were like, hey, do you have any addresses? So something that we could do is send out an email to everybody who attended, because clearly it's on top of their mind and they care about this. And they might identify hotspots that we don't know about, right? 2, we should reach out to every organization to get addresses, because Christy from Just Air like emailed us last week, and I think she's got up to maybe 20. So each organization like you and I, DHDC, you know, the villages, or any other organization that says, I have hotspots, we need to know about them probably in the next 7 days.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I know, sorry. But and then I know I think you raised your hand, but go ahead, and then.
No, I was just gonna say that, in the second hour today, Just Air is joining our meeting. So we'll get a 10-minute update from them, and we can hear about any of the very current things that we need to know about this opportunity.
My hope is that, I know that they have urgency, and I hope that they don't say like, sorry, we got a good amount, we already got like that. We're trying to avoid that. That's why I'm hoping to do it in the next 7 days, is to get some addresses. So, so, because they seem to be in a hurry last year, so. Did you want to
I
add?
just had a question. The postcard that folks filled out, so what did it say?
It was, everyone did their own message, right? It could have been around the air quality or the truck, or to meet with their city council.
We did have somebody, I thought that Carolyn was having those tabulated, so we could follow up, you know, like if 10 people said this, or, you know, we were trying to group the messages.
We were scanning them. I know that was the plan.
Yeah, I think that she was tabulating, so we should have that. We'll get that. See what people are thinking.
I just want to say it was a really good event. We were sitting in the back, all of our ladies with our headsets, like listening in. But every time that they shared a number to call it, something is going on, like we were all writing it down, and they're like, wait, what was it? And they were all sharing it like so everyone was energized, like all at the same time. But that also makes me think, what if someone captured the numbers wrong? Like if those could also be sent out like via email or followed up.
Okay.
And then also something I don't remember being talked about in the AQ, and I'm not sure if we've talked about it in this space recently, but the Improve Detroit app, was there an action step around like reporting trucks going down certain streets?
There is, it came up at the last meeting, and actually I uploaded the last meeting to YouTube to listen to it. So I didn't move on it, although I met with Julie Konecki that day we were walking, and because we were like, who do we email? And she said, get a list together. So for example, reporting idling trucks, taking a picture of a truck. When you see trucks, if you're lucky enough to see like a truck down the street where it shouldn't be, and you have a plate, it's even better. There was a couple of other things, dust, like if you see billowing dust and you're able to capture. I actually just did a screenshot. I was in it yesterday just to kind of look at it, and there's traffic complaints, but not the ones we want. So I will send that email out on Friday. and copy everybody on it, because we walked this corridor Southwest Detroit, and we were like, we want to do this, and she was like, oh my God, just send it to me, copy Augusta. Yeah, so I'll say something once we stop recording. Just yeah, but I'll just say it. She was saying, it's talk to us first, you know, like if I don't respond, text me. Sometimes they don't respond, and then we start going to media, and it actually looks bad for them in the department. And the reason I think it's really important to try those steps first, because she has been more of an ally than not, you know, and so she's like, when you guys copy the media, it's not helpful. So I said, all right, we'll try your route until it doesn't work.
I mean, that is true. Like, there's so much that gets uploaded onto Improve Detroit that these departments just do not either have the ability or sometimes the information to take care of. Like, how those cases get to the people that actually make the decisions. Like the DWSD stuff, like I could put those broken storm drains in all day long and like nothing would happen. Well, it's similar to what you're, where you need to like sort of like press the right button in the right department, and then it actually gets addressed.
Yeah, and sometimes I think we had one neighbor start reporting in the city because of the having a speed bump or whatever, and you know, while we like that they're activated, we're like, wait, let's try a few things before pressing them. So she was saying, you know, I want to work with you guys, and I believe her, you know, she's walking Southwest Detroit with us, right? So you know, I think she was telling us like, quit with the media. So yeah, so anyway, okay.
I just want to add on that, this getting Improve Detroit to respond to some of the things that are our concerns has been something that's been talked about for years. It's like pre-COVID that we were pressing on it to get trucks recognized in there, and now recently dust. And I think that we want to talk to our council member's office to get a strategy with that too, because I think the request can come from different ways and be from all of us, like for them to understand that this is not any one organization, you know, it's all of us that have been wanting this. And I was told by our district managers also that, you know, when we put the truck stuff in there, you can find a way. There's no checkbox, you know, but when you put it in there and there isn't a checkbox, it just goes into a black hole. She said it's not even worth it, you know, whereas if there's a checkbox for it, they do keep metrics. Like they know, we may not hear from them. I don't know if whoever's done it, if you report, let's say a broken fire hydrant, like in Delray, when I reported, but I'll get messages, oh, somebody else in that area just reported something similar. So there's some kind of tracking that goes on and it recognizes, and so some of you may know that, but not when it's one of those black hole things. You never hear about it again. It's just gone. So we really need it to work for us, and you know, glad we're doing it. Okay, leaving the AQ 101 discussion, I'm going to shift over Raquel, but I just want to say that one thing that people didn't get to see from the event is all the slides did get translated into Spanish, and they were going to be into Arabic. They're not in Arabic as yet, but there's a pathway to do that. And those are two things that we can still do. And those can be provided then to all the organizations if you want to, you know, show them, share them at meetings, videos can be used. And we can talk about that moving forward too, when we talk about our strategy for these months ahead, like what we want to do with that. But now we have a new opportunity, and Raquel's going to let us know about it right now.
Yeah, and I apologize, we're not, if you're not on a computer, you cannot see it. So we're going to send out an email with the documents in there. But another opportunity that I consider a win for 2024, 2025 is that also the city of Detroit reached out and said, you know, we want to start planning for the implementation of truck routes. They do foresee a time when it will be voted in. We think hopefully, have you heard anything? Like, have you heard anything about when it might go to council or?
No, but Augusta is supposed to meet with us kind of like at our next meeting that we invite her to.
Yes.
Okay, so this could be our next February meeting, but also this is the Southwest area. So she'll be invited to update at the Southwest table.
So we should know, but so you know, we know that a lot of times an ordinance will happen and there's no implementation plan. And so, they invited, us to kind of be the liaison for this plan, for parts of this plan. And, I'm gonna see if I can turn my computer around. I'll share it on the screen for the folks on the, one of the things that Augusta is doing is putting together these index of strategies, and I'm gonna just see if I can flip my computer around. So,
And if you need to look at it, I have it here.
oh, or maybe flip your computer for them over there, and I'll just kind of show it over here. And these plans are like establishing a truck route ordinance, right? So that's kind of what's happening right now in the timeline. Like it's somewhere we've known it's somewhere in the legal area. Strategies to address specific routes. So we kind of have that right now in the plan. They asked for a lot of feedback. You can still give feedback, but that's closing in the next, I think, 30 days. Intersection upgrades. So part of the plan is identifying which intersections need to be modified and then coming up with a cost analysis for that. Number 4 is enhancing street sweeping operations. I literally just took a video over Christmas of like a street sweeper going like this with dust on Livernois. You just want to, whatever. Okay. So there's a bunch of strategies up to 13. We'll send you the document. One, she wants to know what's missing. And we've already identified one that's missing. And then what we are charged with as a table together is the education campaign for residents, for businesses, for drivers, and then maybe a community-based reporting system. So 7 through 10.
7, 8, 9.
Oh, we want 10 too.
Oh, okay.
We choose 10.
Oh, actually, hold on. It's 8, 9, 10.
8, 9, 10.
So that first part, as you have it, they have it different. They have us so far one resident visits. Right here is 7, 8, 9. I guess they changed their current documents.
They're constantly they're working in it now. I mean, they're modifying it now. So
this is so far what they want us on.
We downloaded the documents, but they're using Teams, and so we're pulling down. So it might shift. We'll make sure that everybody has the updated document. And so what they wanted by the 31st. So what Nicole and I and Simone are going to do is we'll start putting together some language, you know, drafting language, and we'll share the document together. And everybody can come in and make suggestions on these 3 chapters. And then they'll put it all together and it'll be available again for review, not just our sections as a team, but all of the sections, because we know we had a trucks working group in 2021, like when Raquel was in office. And we met like every 2 weeks, Simone, right? So just to make sure that we were asking questions because we didn't want them to vote on something and, you know, have to change it later on. So this is a really exciting opportunity. We'll send out the documents, and I think in the next couple of days, we'll make some phone calls and we'll make sure that folks have access. You know, we run by the documents by everybody. And you know, this is the implementation plan, right? So, and then I think April, May, maybe in June or July, they want to do some community meetings. So we could do an AQ 101 type meeting where we invite the same people to, you know, we could put these items, you know, distill them and then put them up and have people give comment again, because it's really important people understand what the city thinks is the process for implementing this, you know, the truck routes ordinance. So we're really excited. Any questions? Sorry that I feel like we should have the documents today.
Designing the implementation plan?
So it's coming out of the, what is Augusta's title?
Freight specialist?
Freight specialist, yeah. Yeah, right. She's the lead. And freight specialist. The thing that we found missing, so she gave us the West Oakland truck routes implementation study as the model. So we're reading it now. And all over that is ports. And so something that we don't see on this list is ports. And so we know that the original truck study had an origin destination problem. And we think that if we're not putting like, you know, biannually stakeholder engagement that includes the ports and the, you know, SEMCOG, because they're doing a freight study right now. So we're on that task force. We know that we can't just say like, this is the truck route. We have to say, oh, there's new businesses. Do they still just have 300 trucks a day? Are they increasing somewhere else? Is there new industry? What, you know, what is their plan? You know, where are they going? You know, what's their destination and their origin, right? So we know that this has to be part of the strategy, is to maintain it, to consistently review and understand where the you know, where the origination is, right? So we meet Wednesdays from 9 to 10:30 to do part of this planning. We're hoping to take that time, at least in the next couple of weeks, because they want this sort of draft by the 31st. So the next couple of weeks we'll be meeting at that time. We'll do some other planning, but we really want to make sure that we deliver on time. So
one thing I'm aware of is that the Augusta, I think, has the expectation that the Southwest table that she's come to meet with and the orgs are going to be involved. So we have to check on that, the 9:30 time for Wednesdays, if that's going to work for the.
Well, we're going to dedicate a lot of time to it. So we'll probably be available different times during the week. So we're completely open. If somebody's ready to write, you're welcome to come on. Yeah, no, we're open. We just want to, we're booking lots of time right now to get this done. Okay. You know.
And I will also say, like, you're looking at the open one, but if you know of other ones or have language and others that could be useful for these purposes, please send it over.
So the Great Lakes Environmental Law Center, when they were engaged before, did a study of different studies around the country. That's what helped inform, because we already have a draft truck routes ordinance.
We found it yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it
got it.
exists. Yeah.
We were looking at
and-
it yesterday.
yeah.
Because it's in an old folder that belongs to Raquel,
Yeah.
office, but we were able to find it and download it to archive it because it could go missing, right?
Yeah.
So we have a copy of it.
Mhm.
We spent a lot of time trying to do that. We're gonna read it. We're gonna read it. It's the ordinance though, and this is different. It's the implementation.
Yeah.
You know,
But I'm just saying there are plans that it, like, they drew information.
Yeah, because we're looking for to draft the strategy, so to sample like education campaign for the residents, for the businesses, for the drivers. So if there was language of how others have done it, that we could take a look and say, oh, this is actually kind of useful. We can modify this.
And number 10 says community-based reporting system. And for example, I know that they're going to try to tackle this, but using the app is one, right? And looking at New York's anti-idling process for reporting, we could literally go out there, take their best practice and, you know, develop some language for that, you know, and so, and that's what I mean. There might be best practices already for some of these things. So, yeah, so we'll share the documents and then we'll send an invite. And if it doesn't work for you, just let us know. We're willing to meet at other times. We want to make sure that everybody has eyes on this. Also, if you think there are any other people that should be at this, that have something to lend to this, like, please invite them in, even if they're not at the table. And I think that's all I have, so.
Is the meeting in addition to the TOOS meeting?
We need to plan, we do some additional planning during the week, so, yeah.
Moving faster than, like, this is just a monthly, so, yeah, there's gotta be some weekly something that happens to get us to where we need to be, I think. Because the funding that SDV's being paid for is only through May, right?
Right.
Yeah, so they want, like, the implementation plan done and started, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like.
Yeah, so that's right. So we're going to steward the process for the chapters that belong to the community. I think they all belong to us, but, yeah. And so we're hoping to have something by Monday or Tuesday, like pulling language from other locations, just to respond to, so that we can, this isn't the first time that somebody has written this, so we're fans of borrowing language. Yeah.
Do you feel like you can say, from what you understand from Augusta at this point in time, how the entire city is going to be considered in this? Since this is our citywide table versus, implementation of the Southwest plan, how are
So-
they talking about that difference right
The
now?
conversations we've had, right, is that, when you look at the truck study, it only speaks to the routes in Southwest, right? So implementation is a pilot, right? Like, but the ordinance isn't going to be just Southwest, of course, because it's a city ordinance. And so it's, it's a learning tool for other parts of the city to say like, we'll know immediately, like, this isn't working. There's not enough street sweeping. Trucks are still not respecting the, we're gonna learn from, what does the education campaign look like? So I think it's like a pilot. And we know that at the last meeting that we had at Kemeny, maybe it was October, something like that. ECN and Teresa Landrum said that they wanted their own, they're called, oh my God, they're called something else. They're called like, there are other studies, but they're smaller. Or, they're cluster studies, right? They're called cluster studies because really, it would look differently in 42 and 7. It would look differently on the east side. So we're part of another table. It's called like oh my God.
Clean Rides.
Clean Rides, it's statewide. And we're looking at the CRA funding. There's like 3 or 4 levers. One of them is from SEMCOG. They have a lot of planning money. So I think, Teresa, I don't know if you saw my email, but there was an open call for funding from SEMCOG, and I forwarded like once or twice. And we need to sit down and write for that. Usually it's a 1-pager call for ideas. They're interested in slow streets. They're interested in traffic calming. They want to know, they're interested, like one of their SEMCOG's regional work is, it's like sort of like streets for all, safe streets for all, right? While we work alongside freight, because this is the identity of the city. We're next to a bridge. We've got rail. This is who we are. So I think that what we're hoping to do is to identify funding and have the city be the lead. Have her department be the lead in conjunction with the neighborhood so that we can win additional planning studies. So that maybe there's like additional parts to the truck routes. Like here's truck routes. Okay, now we're adding, the east side. Now we're adding, 482 and 7 or, however they want to designate, and so I think it's like sort of additional adding things. I would say, please read Oakland's study. I think it's really great. They talk about, in various locations, they'll say like, this is the route, this is what residents are saying, and here's how it might impact future plans. If we modify this street, this would fix whatever these residents are saying. Like it logs everything. Like what's official, what is coming down the pike, what's completely in conflict. And so we want to make sure that the city is doing the same thing.
So this makes me just want to flag for Mac and Roshan and Jeff, who are the, partners who are on this call today that aren't in Southwest. I mean, we're all Southwest here, to think about looking at what Kel's saying for the funding through SEMCOG for beginning some planning in each of your areas, so that you can bring people together and say where you want the trucks to go or what treatments you think need to happen. Just because since we've been doing it for some years in Southwest, I think the city feels like they can grab onto this more, but if they're going to use this Southwest example to then carry it to other places, you can get more, you can get ahead of things, or you can, start pushing the pipeline, right, from your own district. Because they're just, they just get bogged down with so many things. So unless, like, because you've been pushing on the things you've been pushing on, so you know how to get it done. I'm just saying, specifically on the truck route stuff, if there's some SEMCOG money that you can grab or some other planning money that you can identify, then you can start to, take these lessons directly.
So there is some COG planning dollars available for
They,
this?
they have congestion mitigation
Yes,
dollars all the
yes.
time. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of kind of latitude, I think, in what you could convince them to use the
And
money
here's-
for,
here's-
essentially.
We were asking, so Toledo is also like a slow street, right?
Toledo Street.
So we asked, this is how the conversation happened last year. We asked Julie, like, could you tell us what you think might happen on Toledo? She literally gave us a menu, like, here's 20 things we could utilize. Not all of these things work on that street. But we were like, oh my God, we could write grants for this, so we're like freaking out because they literally the city has a menu of like, you could put some yellow stanchions or whatever those things are called, or kind of a roundabout, or just all kinds of different things. And so I think that we put in a big grant that we wrote last year. We don't know if we're gonna get it or not, but we're like, knowing what these things are, we could say, we want 3 roundabouts, this. We know the total. And the city said, if you have the money, if you write the money, the city will show up. If you say, we've got $150,000, let's talk about Toledo, they'll show up and they'll pull they'll help. So that's really good. Like if we identify spots and we say, we're gonna go after this money. We wanna go after this, there's all these, we're so excited about it. But we can share that. I think Carolyn has it, but because we don't know, right? That's why the city was walking with us. We're like, we can't do this here. We can't do that here. We can do this and we can do this, right? So we start making a list of what the city says yes to. And then Julie goes to the department and says, they want to do this in this area. And then they come back with a report going like, yeah, it's doable. So that's really good. So we want to go after the slow streets, different funding mechanisms, but I think the plan requires a person to come, and to, like, for example, we're going to take photographs in front of Mayberry. We want to understand traffic patterns for the whole week. So we're going to set up a camera. They can also set up a camera, and to alleviate some of the traffic and do some correctional. And I'm going to just give you an example. Why would we have an entrance to 75 where there's 3 schools? And a church. So on a Monday morning, people want to go this way to cross over to go to Spring Mills to get on the 75. Soon there'll be an entrance right there. As parents are coming this way, and it's a one-way, so you cannot go towards Clark Park to make a right. It's that right there. It's like you can't even move for like an hour, and it just doesn't make any sense, right? Why the city or whoever, MDOT, so we're thinking about can we cut across through the alley? Could we make another place that makes it safer for the kids, so that people can have that one way to go to the highway, and anyway, so we walked the corridor to understand it, and they were really happy about that. So as we identify money, I think we'll go into some grant writing modes to get these cluster plans. Yeah.
All right. Welcome. So we're at a breaking point for 5 minutes here. We're going to transition. We're just now joined by our council member, Santiago Romero. And so we're going to break for a minute, everybody, and rejoin here. What's that?
Yeah.
Yep, and rejoin here, and we'll get going at 11:55. All right, 5 minutes.
Second, 11:55.
Yep.
I just girls. Welcome. How do I mute? I don't know.
All of this, and it seems like in some ways it's feels like STB is kind of like
Okay.
shared work for Southwest, and I don't know if the STBA is just kind of, STBA is just like out, and I don't know how after
Hi, everybody. Yeah, okay. All right, we're on. Hey. Just talk loud. Okay. All right, hi, everybody. We're back. Sorry, a couple of minutes late. Gonna get started. And it's weird for us because there's a delay time. So I see my lips moving one way and saying something else. We are at the point of the agenda where we're going to talk about strategy. And there are two different things that we've mentioned about strategy. One is that we wanted to have a strategy discussion and process for our table for how we're going to move forward with everything that we do for the rest of this year. That's not the discussion that we're about to have. We're about to have something more specific, a strategy discussion with the council member's office and her contractors, consultants, but named Built by Many, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you in a second here. But on the first topic of strategy for our table, we did get a couple of proposals, I think, and I think we were waiting yet for some others. So I just wanted to flag this for Mac, for anybody else, Rashawn, I don't know, anyone who is seeking out potential assistance from a contractor, that we need to get proposals in right away, and we need to come up with a process and a decision. Otherwise, we'll be well into our year before we actually have a strategy discussion. So just want to put a nudge out for that, and maybe we'll talk and get settled on this or close to settling on it next Wednesday at our morning planning discussion. How does that sound? I mean, that's kind of what we have to work with today. We don't have other concrete proposals. Okay. So for right now, though, I want to hand it over to Built by Many, John Barr, Alex, and council member, and let you introduce and move forward and tell us what the opportunity is for us to strategize around getting a truck routes ordinance. That's the discussions. Thank you.
I'll have you introduce yourselves and then I can talk about what we think we can do together.
Yeah, I'm John Barth. I am a worker owner at Built by Many, which is a consulting cooperative. We've been in operation for a little over a year, but we collectively as a group have many collective decades of experience working in Detroit on things ranging from community development, economic development, outreach and engagement, policy advocacy, probably a lot of other things. And so we have been working with Councilmember Gabby's office for about a year now, doing a lot of different things, but usually around like kind of outreach, engagement, and sort of broader communications.
My name is Alex Navarrete. Yeah, I've been with Built by Many for about the time it's been set up. And yes, supporting with the policy research, of course, also there's some organizing experience and supporting that. And so I think that's the big thing that we're hoping to support this roundtable with is filling in just the capacity gaps to making sure that folks feel engaged and listen to the process. And yeah, it's a successful campaign.
So thank you. And with my background in community organizing, I know it's incredibly important that we work together with residents, but also just educate them, give them a political education, give them routes to engage with us. A truck route ordinance is going to take a very large lift. It's something that we're going to need to create a lot of noise around citywide. Our office, while we're working with the administration internally, for a truck routes in Southwest, we are going to push for a citywide ordinance. Our office is also very small and there's a lot going on. So it's not just truck routes that we're working on. We're doing historical review, we're doing animal care, we are doing human rights, repealing and replacing. We're doing a lot of work and we can't let this stop. So we are engaging with Built by Many to help us, again, with that capacity. As you heard, they can do research, they can do beautiful infographics, they can help us with comms if we want to do a texting campaign, email campaign. They helped us do interviews. So in Corktown, I'm sure folks have heard about saving bricks and what that looks like. They helped us talk with residents in the neighborhood about what their thoughts are. So they can also help us with interviews, getting information from residents, things of that nature. From what I understand, the work here being done, it's about gaining the interest citywide, building the infrastructure for people to engage for us to push the truck route ordinance. So I really wanted to introduce Built by Many so we can find our lanes. I think that this is gonna require a lot of people doing a lot of work. It's gonna be an inside-outside game strategy. And to be completely honest, the most successful campaigns that I've seen is trying to have some kind of separation of work. So we can't go out and say like, this is what Gabby wants, because the mayor may not like that. This is not what Gabby wants. This is what residents want, right? So this has to be led by residents. They need to be front and center. And it oftentimes really, really helps when the pressure is coming from residents asking for the work. And we work together, sharing information, strategies, things of that nature. So really, I see Built by Many as kind of a middleman. They can definitely be meeting, if there's capacity to come to the meeting to see how this is going, to let us know what you're working on. They can share with you any survey questions or anything that I might need information from residents. What blocks, what areas are really, really bad? What are the kind of health impacts that you're dealing with? So I can talk to the health department, right? I can see us doing a lot of work and having Built by Many support us in thinking through that and then letting folks here know. I think that might be helpful. Don't know. I will share when it came to ShotSpotter and funding, CBI work, that was inside outside. When it came to ceasefire, that was inside outside. It really helped that there was organizing infrastructure outside of my office, which is why I'm also bringing in Built by Many to help with that. And I don't know where folks are at. I also know you guys are building the coalition citywide, but I did think it was important for us to sit down to talk about what capacity there is, what work needs to happen, and then who can do what. And again, I'm thinking inside, outside. Our office, of course, will continue to work with the administration. We have a meeting with Sam and Augusta, in a week or two to talk about what they're doing. They just got millions of dollars for infrastructure improvements, amazing. But they also are working on a truck route for Southwest Detroit. And I did get the commitment from the mayor to do a truck route ordinance. So we're just kind of build, right, on those conversations and on those commitments from the administration. So we'll continue to do that work. And I really think what we need is support from a citywide coalition, the comms, the research, the information to be shared with residents. That's all I have so far.
Thank you. I have some questions to see if maybe we can get from, this beginning step and help get to a next step. What do you understand to be timing, maybe, for bringing something to initiate this at council?
Because the report is done regarding the routes in Southwest, I see us establishing a truck route for Southwest this year. So I am pushing for truck routes in Southwest. We have that information already. It's about implementing whatever we found out from that report. And that's what I'm going to be meeting with Sam and Augusta about. That is the fastest that I think we can get that done. The truck route ordinance itself, I believe this year we begin to build that interest, rebuild the citywide coalition. And that might be something, unless we can organize ourselves quickly, because what we can also do is, I'm fairly confident we can get truck routes this year in Southwest. What we can also do is just pass an ordinance that says the city must create ordinance routes like these in other high industrial areas in the city, but we don't have to have what those are in the immediate. It's just like the mandate that you figure it out. That's what I think could happen. And if that is something that we can do, that might be something that we can get done fall, like maybe it's the very last thing that we can push through, right, at the end of this year. But I first want to hear and confirm that we can get a truck route in Southwest this year, but I believe that we can.
Okay. Before you came, Raquel gave an update about, you might know this, if there's some implementation money that has been funded to SDV.
Yeah.
So it's through May. So we're going to have this quick process of identifying implementation needs and steps and coming up with a plan for that. So that's what we just discussed, and that will be, moving forward, and it wraps in May. So figuring that there will be, come May, maybe if we do the groundwork, that sometime in May, we could be coming before council and saying, here's the example, here's what's coming, and, we can move forward. The other question I wondered, I heard you say, you've said that the mayor is kind of saying, yeah, he's going to work with us on this. So I'm wondering, how do you read where the rest of council is at with respect to getting a truck routes ordinance?
I don't believe that this is on their radar as something to either support or have any issues with.
And that's okay, if that's, where things are at, okay.
If this was to come to council, Tish would support it, I believe Benson would support it, right, because they live in districts that have high truck routes or truck traffic. So I can see council supporting it. Of course, industries we would have to worry about if this was to be a thing, but at this point, we're receiving money for infrastructure improvements. We're literally working with them to figure out a way to have them still be in the city and do their business, but as a good neighbor with residents. And quite frankly, my hope would be that we deliver these truck routes as a way to make things more efficient for them too, right? Why have your trucks go through different, just have a route that is safe, is fast, whatever we have to meet their goals and to meet ours. That is the energy that I'm bringing into this, and oftentimes we're able to get things done if we're saying that we're working to make sure that we're addressing the needs for everyone.
So ECN, I know, has met with various council members talking specifically about a truck routes ordinance, and I don't know if Rashawn is, I know he's halfway on right now because he's on another meeting. Rashawn, if you can hear me, hi.
I can hear you. We got a group over here on the east side. We're taking around to the Matrix Center and looking at the development property. So, but I got a quick little second to step away from that group. Hey, Gabby and team, good to see everybody. Happy New Year, y'all. So yes.
Just wondering, Rashawn, did you want to, it doesn't have to be now, but you could update us on how you feel the conversations with council members that you've had or have gone so far in terms of their support or resistance to a truck routes ordinance?
Oh, absolutely. So we've had conversations with Council Member Mary Waters' office, and they've obviously been strong supporters. We've had conversations with Coleman Young's office. He's given us, tentative support. However firm that support might be, we'll have to see moving forward. Mary Sheffield's office hasn't formally committed. Lately, we've been kind of at an impasse with them a little bit. But I know that they've been communicating with Donna. I don't know if that's more campaign oriented, specific to her, upcoming run. And then Councilmember Benson's office, we haven't had any real communication with, but Councilmember Letitia Johnson's office, obviously, Letitia says she's supportive, tentatively. So right now we can really count on, I think, from our side of the post, we talk to strong support coming from Mary Waters, and also some support coming from Letitia Johnson as well. And maybe Coleman, if he doesn't waver. But I wouldn't anticipate that not necessarily being the case. So.
Thanks, Rashawn. That's helpful.
Could you let us know what are the concerns expressed by other Sheffield or Young?
Could you hear that, Rashawn? The question is, yeah.
So Sheffield's office hasn't given us any real explicit concerns. The concern really is just coming from our side, just in terms of getting an official stamp of support and just an official kind of her saying yay or nay to she would support some type of trucking ordinance. She's alluded to the fact, but we haven't gotten her on record, and we haven't had her, staff in the meeting where they've committed to supporting that. So that's why I don't want to count support that we don't have. I wouldn't anticipate Mary being anti or being against it. But like I said, I'm not going to count on support that hasn't been made explicit. Same with Coleman. He came into our office a little over a year ago. in the conversation we had with him, he expressed firm support and that he would be supportive of an ordinance moving forward. We just know based on our history of dealing with him that could be wavering. So we'll count it as a yes, we'll count it as a support, but we wouldn't count it as strong support like we know we have with Gabby and her team. And obviously, I think we're starting to build that with Mary. She will really be another strong and firm supporter in having her team do some of the legwork that's going to be needed to get this across the finish line.
Yeah. I will also say that unless this is actually being discussed and pushed by the people, council is not going to really think about it. There are many things to think about, which is why a campaign is going to be really important and why it's going to be important that it's not a Southwest District 6 issue. Because yeah, as we just heard, I don't think it's like they don't care. It's just like it's not front and center, and it needs to be front and center for them to, yeah, for them to respond.
So that makes me want to pose to the group here, like a potential first step for us. I mean, we have to figure out what we all think together our strategy is. You know, what are the elements that we want to focus on as a strategy? One of those basics is education of council members and what that looks like. So doing the one-on-ones is one strategy. Another is to try to get a presentation before full council, to get on the agenda and be able to say, here's the history. It's been worked on for a long time. Here's what we know. All these things, great things have been happening. Here's the why it's such a concern and why we want to move forward, you know. And so I wanted to put that out there to ask you and everyone, like, can we get on the calendar for that? Because that could then alert the entire council of the importance. And then we can break down for each one of them afterward. Okay, you heard the presentation. What are your concerns? In 101s, we can follow up while we also then do our organizing in the community to make sure we get people ready and bring them to council. So that's a really broad brushstroke, but I wanted to see, you know, what your team is thinking of in terms of what's needed as council strategy. And then we can talk about it from our end.
So definitely the one-on-ones. Presenting in front of public health and safety is very easy. I chair public health and safety, and this issue comes up regularly. We can either have it be a standalone discussion or one that's discussed when we are talking about any of the contracts that we're going to go through. That may be going through addressing trucks. Definitely, we can do a standalone conversation in PHS. Formal, I don't control. Could be a little different. I would say that we can ask Sheffield to see if we can do a formal presentation. I would also encourage folks to come in and make public comment. So public comment really does matter. I encourage folks, if you can, call in or go in every week and talk about the issue. During formal session, we're always into public comment. And there are many ways that we can do this. Like it really, I think the before or after, I just think we should do it all. I think you should do the one-on-ones. We should make the public comments. We can first go to PHS. And then during public comment, say we would like to present to you as a full council. Yeah. And then that's when I can say, I would love that. You know, would you still definitely come to the full council? And then, you know, through you, council president, can they come and present to you like 10-15 minutes in front of the forum?
So how do we get on your calendar? Because I would say that like this has come up before. We have discussed this presenting to, you know, so we'll get to work and figure out what we want to present, who and how and da. But if we can get on your calendar, then we have that to aim for and we can bring people, you know, for the public comment part. We can talk about something you and I have talked about before, because it was done in oath. Got a hand? Okay. Thanks, Roshan. Just finish up this one sentence that we could have as part of that, like a resolution about the needs to deal with truck traffic, you know, and a resolution then could be carried from council to the full, from the committee to the full, and that's one avenue to get it to the full, just because it's been done before. Roshan and Raquel.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Roshan.
Yes, thank you. So just to let you guys know, we're going to be planning a town hall coming up very, very soon with Great Lakes Environmental Law Center around ozone and air quality, much like the town hall we did last year. If you guys remember kind of the trucking town hall we did think that was April. So we're going to attempt to do a similar event like that. We're looking at February, at the latest, maybe March, to have this event. We definitely are looking for you guys to be a partnership with us, to potentially, have you on, maybe have Gabby on the panel, talking about, city air quality. I think obviously when we're looking at it, it's obviously a traffic issue, it's a health and safety issue, it's a air pollution issue, it's all of these things. I think having kind of these public forums is another way to put pressure on our elected officials, but then also for those of you who are supporting us, like Gabby and Mary Waters, to kind of sound the alarm and really ring the bell, in a very, very public way. I think we're going to do a good job again of getting media out to this event, so the awareness should be high. And then also, kind of tying this to the upcoming elections is almost kind of an informal way of creating a report card for, how the community sees council responding to, the needs of people in the neighborhoods, whether they be in Southwest or on the East Side or on North End or wherever they may be. So just wanted to throw that opportunity out there, see what you guys thought about it. I know we're kind of in a planning phases. Like I said, we're working with, Nick Leonard and Great Lakes Environmental Law Center. Probably potentially could have Andrew Bashi as well, being a panelist. He was last year. But I think it's just another opportunity for us to have a public forum outside of, public comment, to really bolster, and build up steam for this campaign, on both ends. So, Gab, you always talk about kind of that inside-outside game. I think this is just another opportunity for us to kind of be working that inside-outside game simultaneously. I just wanted to see what folks' thoughts were about that.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. Including Documenters Detroit in everything that is done, I think is really good too. They have a good following, they're really dope, and it's really good at how they report these issues. So definitely support a town hall. I think we should bring local media for sure. Also made me realize we also have evening community meetings and the mayor's mandated meetings. This is where a lot of people show up. This is where you'll have the full council in attendance. It's essentially just an extended public comments time, but also a very good time. And Rashawn, you've been to them. You guys have done a great job, but coming out to those is actually really helpful. And going to, they're across the city. So going to whatever district it's in, going there. So yes, Simone, to your question about how to get on the calendar. So Ray and Kristen are here. Ray is looking at the calendar now. It's only difficult because we don't know what it's going to look like. We only know when it's what based on referrals. So I think it's best for us to figure out when you think you'll be ready, and then we can figure out a Monday. So we meet Mondays 10 a.m. Unless it's a holiday. So looking at Mondays 10 a.m. that's when PHS meets. I know that our January, early February, we've got some ordinances that are going to be booked in discussions, but maybe late February, early March as well. We might be able to schedule something.
Yeah.
If we do it around the town hall, like maybe you have the town hall first, you come to PHS, however, but we should be building off of this work and being on top of the conversation. So we can definitely hold discussion in PHS. Ray, what are your thoughts?
Yes, so we can hold a discussion in PHS. I was just reaching out to Paris from Council President's Office about holding a large discussion in formal session. So for that, I just need to send a request, and the presentation time frame is 15 minutes. So my recommendation is the sooner that we can put that request in, the sooner we can put on the calendar. With budget being early in March, if we could do a presentation realistically like in February, just so it could be on people's forefront as we go into budget, that can also help with the foundation for our requests that come, whether it's studies, monitors, etc., people to do more work as we try to figure out what the overall plan looks like, would be my recommendation. So if we guys have a date today, I can send that email out to Paris. So I'll need a date, a title of the presentation. Like I said, 15 minutes max, but that will be ahead of the full body, and then we can also host a presentation in PHS as well. For that, as far as available dates, I would say February as well, because we only have 2 Mondays in January due to the MLK holiday. So either 13th or 27th, 13th is our first day back, and that's just gonna be a busier schedule. And we want the council to be present as well, so anything like the 3rd of February, the 10th, 17th, 24th, those are all open days right now.
Are you off on President's Day or not? That's the
I don't
17th.
think so.
Okay, just checking. Okay.
Yeah.
So Rashawn, you said February, March, so I'm guessing that you're thinking later February for your town hall. Do you know? Is it gonna be on a week evening or Saturday, or what are you thinking?
So we're actually in our planning retreat this week. We haven't specifically discussed dates. We're also going to be meeting with our ECAC collective next week and our steering committee next week. So we'll be getting a little bit more feedback from them. More than likely looking towards the end of February, early March. Obviously, you know, we know it's going to take some time to put an event like this together, especially if we're going to be involved in partners and trying to get, you know, media involved in things of the like. So yes, I'm thinking around the same timeline, being symmetrical to everything that Gabby just mentioned. So hopefully we'd be able to kind of synchronize those efforts in a way, you know, to where we're kind of hitting, you know, all of those, you know, lines of march, you know, along the way.
Yeah. I don't think it matters who goes first. We just talk about how we're working together.
Okay.
So if the town hall happens in March and we have the competition in PHS, you say we have the town hall happening in March. So we can just be smart about how we make them all connect. I don't think it necessarily like one has to come before the other. We said it.
Y'all cut out, y'all. I can't hear y'all.
You can't hear? Sorry.
No, I got it.
Okay, thank you. Just wanting people to look at their calendars too. I don't know, DHDC, you know, anybody here, take a look. You know, Mondays generally are probably okay, you know, times for us to show up. Now, since we're already like mid-January, I would say we probably want to not even, I mean, the earliest I would look at is Monday, February 24th, but maybe we actually want to say March, early March, like Monday, March 10th. That gives us two TOOS meetings before it happens, 2 of these meetings. So I don't know if people want to just check and see what a Monday, the March 10th looks like for you and for the health and safety, and then we'll figure out if we get invited to go to full council and how to work around that. But that would give us a practice time, you know, a time to get people out and builds momentum too if you come to the health committee before you go to the full council.
Also, those meetings are all recorded. Take snippets from the recording for your own education and social medias and get more, you know, excited about it. But that's also, think about it as that way, you can reach other people.
And then I guess we'll need to know like what built by many, what we can, you know, ask of through your office or whatever, you know, like for whatever it is, communication, you know, graphics,
Make
stuff that you're saying.
presentations for whatever it's worth.
I just have one comment. So the March 10th would be a little close for us because we start budget hearings on the 13th.
Okay, so maybe that first one instead, the first Monday in March?
If possible,
The
just
third?
to make sure that.
Okay, that's why we're talking about this. I don't know, just throw it out there. So March 3rd, yeah. Then that would be, we'd have one more of these TOOS meetings, but we will have our weekly planning meetings we're gonna be connecting around. And probably we're gonna need a subcommittee to work on this, to get prepared for council, for the presentation aspects of council. And then the rest of us will all be thinking about how to mobilize the grassroots, you know?
And then, one last thing, while the standing committees, their time reduces to an hour after March 10th, I believe. Formal session still has the full time allotted, there's no budget hearings that day. So if there was a presentation during budget season, that's also open and available because those aren't released.
I'm sorry, on the Mondays, you're saying?
Well, so Mondays for PHS for the month, but
Uh-huh.
I'm saying during budget, we get reduced to an hour, so we don't do presentations during that time.
Oh, I
because
see.
It's just
Yeah.
hard to get through council business.
Yeah.
But I'm saying on that following Tuesday, formal sessions always the whole, however long it takes to get through the agenda. There is no time frame on it.
Okay.
So if you guys wanted to plan for that follow-up during budget season, that
I
can also
see.
fit without.
Okay.
Tuesday reductions.
Okay,
Does it make
Thank you.
sense to aim for a March 3rd presentation to the Public Health and Safety Committee? Around that same time, ECN would be holding its town hall and then aiming for a presentation to the full city council sometime even during budget season, a little bit after all that, and we could theoretically integrate our findings and takeaways from you know, the presentation of the committee and the town hall into what we present to council.
That strategy works, because as Ray mentioned, formal will still stay its regular time. Simone, to your question about build by many and how we work, I just need to know what the coalition has. So do you have your infographics, do you have your research, do you like, because whatever is listing, our office is gonna work with. So we've talked about doing surveys, we've talked about doing text messages, getting feedback from like, have you developed azimuth into the top, like, we can do those things. It's gonna be important that my office talks about the impacts of trucks, talks about the reports, you know, the outcomes, showing those in infographics, talking about the solutions and pushing that through. And I guess what would be needed from the coalition? I think that's like what we're trying to figure out. Yes.
I really like the idea of a survey. We've just joined the CDAD board, which is across the city.
Nice, great.
And I think doing a citywide survey.
Yes,
Across
exactly.
all the block clubs and I say we, she joined the board. I'm on the policy committee, but I think activating, I mean, we strategically last year said was like, we need to run, right? We need to go get in there. Cause every block club is there, right? Every organization is there. So I think if you can shoot off, if we come to the public health, it's on my calendar, by the way. I never attend, but it's aspirational. It's Monday the 10th. I think that even though we're shooting for March, I think SIA and Matt from ICD, they can start going to their city council person. They got relationships. There's been some action. They can have a more directed ask. So we can continue to do some other stuff. But the minute we present in March and you say, we need a survey, then we can get it out across the city. You know, through a lot of different avenues, you know, and I think, yeah, it's a lot of coordinating. I think one of the things that we also want to do across the city is just ask for like intersections and, you know, those folks are showing up to the meetings. I remember at one of the mayors, there was folks complaining about trucks.
Yeah.
So we got to get those names and like, you know, continue.
It's probably Rashawn's folks, honestly.
No, it was the people behind Amazon on 7 Mile or 6
Oh,
Mile.
yeah,
whatever.
I'm telling you, Benson, yeah, and even, I think that's him too.
There was a girl there from the
so-
block club and she was like, these trucks, you know, like
Yeah.
complaining. So I remember
is that
if
people's platform or no?
no, it was a
resident.
Yeah. resident.
Nice.
So I think we can locate those people and say, this
Yeah.
is the time to say, why aren't you, we need a truck study. We need a truck study. Like, you know, we need a truck ordinance, right? And so, yeah, I think we can think of some action items between now and then support ECN. Well, it's that presentation, Rashawn, like we need to show up and support and get that out.
Yeah. Someone you have a thought? Did it go away?
It went away except for, the new thought is that we do, as part of this grant, we also have been talking about, we want to tour council members. So try to do one-on-ones or even group, like we've done it as a group in the past. But I think that it would be well before a vote happens, you know, at council, just to help people, help the council members crystallize any questions or, you know, come to any questions they may have, get their questions answered, see why this is such a big deal. I think, you know, so it's both presenting to them, but I think we have to bring them here. So we'll have to figure out the timing of that. It could follow March 3rd. That's fine. When the weather's better, whatever we can plan for, but I think that would be a really important thing to, you know, keep working on. And Josh is coming on board to help this table some with that, some local work. So he would be involved in some other council
I mean,
tours.
you have a lot of youth. We could come to a city council meeting virtually and just like,
Yeah.
raise our hands and.
Yeah, that'd be great. I was thinking about that. Also, for 24th, I was organizing or we were organizing a youth organizing forum. And I spoke to someone about it already. And that's something that would be great to kind of centralize this work.
Can start doing it.
And bring a lot of the youth, the community around it. I think it'll go a long way, seeing youth faces do this stuff. It's the 24th, but I don't have a problem pushing it back. If that would work better.
January 24th?
Yeah.
No, keep it, that's fine.
Yeah, that's great. Get it started. Something in January,
Yeah,
something in February, something in March. So we're gonna go, yeah.
Back to that, potentially.
Yeah, so like spread the word, social media, come out and,
We could even interview them, like collect stories. That's part of like, also what we're thinking is collecting stories, not even collecting data and turning them into stories. The youth are fantastic. Have them call every Tuesday and tell them like, I have asthma, like we know everything, like our children have asthma in the neighborhood. And we have a council that says we care about kids and children, so like, let's act on it then. But I think that's great. Having them come to our ECMs, we can share when those are, the even community meetings at every council, district. What time on the 24th?
so it'll be 5 to 8.
Okay, great.
There's a way we can like, I don't know, ideas on how to communicate, so to help with the outreach and like ideas and.
We can
making more and more
definitely, we can push for
collaborative,
that.
interactive.
Yeah, well, we can probably all push.
Yeah, I mean, if an invite on your listserv, Gabby, went out to youth across Southwest Detroit, that you might not have reached to yet. Like, hey, come one, come all, youth in Southwest.
Big schools,
And,
like
yeah.
all different high schools,
I was thinking about that for you too.
It's something for the summit, then we could include it in our.
Okay, so we got fire, man, I can send that to you, I don't know about why we send it.
If you send it to our main office, email the council member Gabriella, it's council member Gabriella at detroitmi.gov. I wish it was shorter. It's not getting any shorter than that. So council member Gabriella at detroitmi.gov, that would go to the full office. And we have the liaison from DPD and not DPSCD. So we are able to work with students.
So the council member Gabrielle, right?
And my daughter, yes.
And then Josh, I saw the flyer for the youth organizing forum. Was it specifically around air quality or were there other?
Oh, so that was the I should have mentioned, so original idea, what was just about general organizing or, but it is something we can definitely make one of the central key things. The thing that I was thinking is the trucking, the pollution, but also, also the Trump administration coming in, also talking about our immigrant community members and their rights and their safety during this year. So that was kind of the idea, but I can definitely make this a central point.
And then there's something that we should organize for. So it's like you learn about the organizing, we're gonna be organizing for. Definitely EJ. And also people have left their countries to be here for better infrastructure. It's not happening.
Exactly, right.
Problem. So like it all intersects.
And also, you bring up the point about like if council members and the city sees like resident push and pressure, these things work better. And it's kind of the point of this forum is to really try to get our communities talking about this and bring them out to this forum to kind of kick off this new year into growing that mobilization.
Yeah. Just because you mentioned it, just want to briefly share on the 15th, we are going to have a Know Your Rights training. So if any youth or families that we're going to be at Latin Baptist American Church from 6 to 9, and there is going to be free legal services consulting at the site, so please let people know.
What time?
6 to 9 on January 15th.
Yes, Wednesday, January 15th.
For other, Simone or Abby, when you're coming with, Goslar Sam, have there been specific budget, needs to make the implementation easier?
We can ask that when we meet with them, but we don't know yet. I know that they just announced all the millions they got, but that's only for private infrastructure. That's the companies around us, which is great. But to your point, what do we need to establish a truck routes ordinance? What's what we're gonna be asking? I believe it's just gonna be the signs, right? And those are gonna be like the cops that are gonna be enforcing this work, who knows? But we'll talk about any needs and then what enforcement looks like. Yeah, but we don't know that yet.
There's a separate conversation to happen for precinct.
Yeah, probably.
The implementation study lists things like that, like we'll need a full-time person training all of the different precincts, like it. We think the implementation study is what might go into the budget next year after it goes, because that's what Oakland's study lists, like people, training, yeah, just
Materials.
we think it could pay for itself,
Right.
but
So will they then be asking that to include in the proposal, or will we need to be organizing social support?
We would have to push that they implement it, that they implement the employee that they need, that they purchase the materials that they need for the signs or whatever the case may be. But that's what the study was for, and we know that, so we asked them to actually implement that. I would not be surprised if I would hope that that's something that we can put for this budget, this April, March budget. And I think that's what we're gonna do, and I don't see why we could wait for another year. So I don't see why we'll wait for another year. We can't, there's no way. So.
just from reading Oakland's study, it triggers a lot of other ordinances changes, like, having, like the ordinance, like the police can't really ticket right now. So they've got to get trained, and then there's got to be special routes for them. And then maybe there's a specific person that just circles around for them, Yeah, I think that, from what they're drafting right now, there should be some cost analysis.
For sure.
So, some basic, but I don't,
And that's honestly easy. At this point, we know what that is. We can just pull that information. But I'm going to assume that is what Sam is going to propose to us, because that's what we're going to be meeting with them is, from this truck routes survey and responses, we now know what we have to do. What is the implementation plan moving forward? It has to be done this year. I don't think we're not going to get it done this year. It's going to be done this year. Yeah, we've been working way too hard. All the pieces are there for it to be. We're going to push for it to be done this year. Yeah.
but you're saying the budget is all due this March.
The budget is, we're going to begin to discuss the budget this March. And it gets approved at the end of April or mid-April.
Okay.
And I haven't seen the budget yet, so I can't tell you if it's in there or not.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if it's there already.
That's a good aspect on the city council people. Why is that in the budget? Oh,
Yeah,
it's a good
no,
one.
for sure. Yeah, I don't.
That's a good ask.
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't be there, especially if this is what we've been asking for. They've been putting a lot of money into this already. I think that's where we're moving, but that again, we're gonna confirm when we see.
Will you let us know what you find, or,
Yeah,
because I think if it's not in the budget, that's a good trigger point for us.
yeah, for sure. And if it is in the budget, it's about what might not be there. So, if there's anything else that we might need. I know that we're asking for annual impact studies, health impact studies, so that we know what's going on in high industry areas. That hasn't been approved yet, so there's other things.
Well, anybody else want to jump in with anything at this point in time? So I'm going to recap some of the things that just happened in this segment before we move on. Okay. So we know that, we're planning to get an ordinance passed this year. We hear the commitment from our council member's office. We heard some updates about where the other council members are at. We're going to be circling up at our next meeting, probably to talk about our strategy with the other council members. We did talk about events that January 24th coming up, the youth event that UNI is leading up, a February, March date not determined yet for ECN's town hall that we want to engage with. And then we talked about March 3rd as an event, as appearing at the Public Health and Safety Committee and the potential for appearing at full council. We also talked about the need to prepare other districts and doing that through possibly a mapping exercise. So people in each district giving input. We haven't talked about what that looks like yet. If we can create a map and send a link out to all our partners or something, and then you can use it however you want in your district to start adding to. A separate mapping thing is that we're going to distribute physical maps, which aren't in your hands yet, but they're supposed to have been done. So these will be a physical map of your district, like on Tyvek, where you can, in a physical meeting with people, put stuff, dots, talk about intersection problems or whatever. And then that could be used in conjunction with loading it up into an electronic map. We're going to be talking about monitors in just a sec with Sarah Clark from Just Air, but potentially, if we have monitors in the ground, there'll be data coming from those monitors too, that maybe can be used in our campaign, right? Where we'll be able to bring this information coming forward. And we also previously talked about, and there's going to be a connection with the planning implementation plan, that now we're going to be having some weekly meetings coming up through SDEV, and that's going to be a place where we'll be talking regularly, and we'll try to figure out what our next steps are as far as our strategy here. So we have a beginning strategy, we have some events to aim for, and we're gonna have to put some flesh on the bones in terms of probably, like I said, picking a committee and putting that out to the whole group, because we don't have everybody participating today. So we're gonna have to, ask everyone who wants to participate in this. Anything else anybody wants to add in before we move on?
I guess just to quickly summarize for our purposes, so it sounds like those that we can plug in immediately is starting to attend these strategy meetings and just kind of listening, offering input when possible, relaying it back to council members' office whenever needed. And then maybe just kind of plugging in, helping us on these things, like creating that presentation for council. We have a very talented design team, so we can make something beautiful and informative for that. We're also very into mapping and kind of like data input tools. So I think helping design like a interactive map for people to use to kind of input their own information is something we can absolutely help out with too. And I suppose it could just become a thing where, we attend these meetings, relate back to Gabby, and then we can always kind of adjust what we're doing based on what the needs are.
Yeah, and then in the immediate, figuring out for our office, because we do want to have. Did you know, like, are you in fact like these? We want a comms plan through our office. We now are texting residents, so we got like text messages out that can go out. I can either talk about what's coming up, where they can call in, maybe make a public comment, so we can work on our comms plan. And then the survey, maybe we can start to draft it. So we have to focus on what might be needed, what might be missing, like what would be a good survey. And it might be a few smaller surveys, because there's gonna be a lot of things. And with the time that we have, we can help think through, help me think through that, like what is the process of the surveys, what are the questions? Yeah.
Maybe we should set a time for a survey meeting or something, or use one of our, I don't know, there'll be the weekly meetings that are gonna start up, okay? Maybe we use that as a time and put the survey on there so that we can figure out, okay, is this a short 10-question survey, 5-question survey, what is it, and what are the key questions? So that, we just kind of get that out the door and get it, put together. And then if I heard you right, if you were just offering to do an electronic map,
Yeah, or like
creating mapping tool.
Yeah.
We're saying, go for it. Yes, please. Yeah, so that'd be great to get that going.
And then we've got Just Air on. Okay.
Yes.
Sarah, so.
Yeah, okay, so we are at 12:45. Thank you so much for that. We will be following up and excited. We do have a lot of background materials, slides, different things that could be used to go in a council presentation, and have done them before, so we can definitely be collaborating on that.
Fantastic.
Okay, thank you so much for coming. Eat more, take a plate with you.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Okay, so next up, we have Just Air. Sarah Clark is here. Thank you, Sarah, for joining, and we're looking for you to update us for about 10 minutes, and we're hoping to hear about the air monitors that were being discussed in December. We hope that we're not too late on being able to get some of these to our district partners we have here.
Great. Hey, everybody, Sarah here. I'm bummed I couldn't make it in person. I'm literally just on the street, but I thought I'd listen in rather than try to make it over there. But sounds like a great conversation. So if I'm hoping most people know, we do air quality monitoring for a lot of Wayne County right now. If you haven't seen the map, go to justair.app, and Wayne County has sponsored about 100 air quality monitors across the county, and a lot of those are, of course, in Detroit. So if you're not yet signed up for air quality alerts for a specific monitor close to your house or your workplace or your kid's school, do that now, because you can stay very up to date on what's happening. We also are working in collaboration with GDI as they are rolling out. They got a grant to distribute additional air quality monitors across the city. And so they are about ready to put those monitors up. And so I'm hoping that most of you have maybe already contributed to that process in some sense. But if not, I will take any and all ideas at this moment and pass along to them as quickly as I can, because they're finalizing everything right now. It takes a little bit. Yes, Jeff, I can do that. I'm dropping in the chat if you go to justair.app, and then there's a button that says sign up for alerts. So I'll link that as well. And then all we need is your phone number, since it's a SMS text that will go to, and then you can actually just heart a monitor like close to where you live, or any monitor that you see on the map. And you will get alerts for that one, if it gets worse than moderate. So anyway, so that's that. And so I'm here to hear any ideas that we want to share to Green Door Initiative as they deploy 30 monitors across the city, but also give a brief update on the computer visioning project that we're working on with some of the lovely folks at this table who are leading this table, because we are building a tool to be able to count trucks with like a computer visioning camera, and then also map that with air quality. So we'll be able to see the number of trucks that are passing, especially on residential streets, but then also be able to correlate what the air quality is. If there's high truck traffic during a couple of hours in the day, we can see if air quality is worse at those times. So I can talk more about that too. Simone, maybe I'll pause and let you help guide the direction based on where you want it to go right now.
Thank you. The thing we don't want to miss out on is the opportunity to get some monitors on truck routes in our district partners areas. So you're saying that the list isn't finalized yet. We heard that maybe it was getting very close. So let us know what do we need? How many can we still potentially get installed, and how do we get that to you as soon as possible?
I don't know the number, but I will. If you have top priority requests, we need to hear them now, and I will get them to the right people at GDI and our team. So that's yes, we want to listen to that right now.
Okay, so let me just pull the people who are on this call, who are here with us today, to see. Mac, looking at you, is there a street anywhere where you would like to have an air monitor put?
Air monitor?
Yeah, and Sarah, maybe tell us what's the criteria for where the monitor's going? Does it need to have a power source? Does it need to,
No, it does not. These will be solar, so they will go on DTE poles, so they can go just about anywhere.
Solar and DTE poles.
Mac and St. Jean.
Mac and St. Jean. Mac and St. Jean.
Okay. Excellent.
Okay. Roshan, do you have a street where you don't yet have an air monitor? And Sarah, just clarifying, these air monitors will be doing PM 2.5, PM 10, and NOx, or what are they doing?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, the question again?
There's
Roshana,
an opportunity, go ahead.
well, are there any spots you don't yet have monitors that you need monitors because we might be able to sneak some in through the GDI grant?
That's a good question. I probably need to get back to you on that. Because I'm almost for sure, but I'm not for certain like at the moment because I'm not in front of my computer or desk right now.
Okay, Jeff,
It sounds like it's really quickly though. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know if we have a day or two here, but she just said Sarah said that they don't need a power source, so they're solar and they'll go on DTE poles. So that's
Okay.
really a great opportunity. So just think about that.
Roshan, we
Okay,
can
I will
get
do.
back in with you
I
via
have a
email.
question for Sarah.
Hey,
Sarah,
Teresa.
Okay.
hi, Happy New Year. Were you able to get to the site off of Jefferson where that place that nobody talks about? Remember you and I? We said we were going to visit it so we can write
That
poll.
might have been Christy you were talking to. I'm not exactly sure.
Forgive me. You're right. It was Christy. In Jefferson and River Road, they have a big, huge dust problem. Nobody talks about this spot, and it's very bad. Located near a park and a school.
I
And
will double check with
Avenue in
Christy.
River Rouge. Oh God, I forgot the street. Dang it.
It's by the park.
Yeah, it's right behind Jefferson Mr. Fish on Jefferson. It's
Okay.
that corner. Yeah.
I will double check with Christy. If she talked to you
Yeah.
about it, I'm sure she already submitted it, but I will confirm that that is.
Okay. All righty.
Thank you for
Thanks.
bringing that up.
Thanks, Teresa. Jeff has a suggestion of a couple of locations. Jeff, do you want to
Jeff,
say
I
that?
saw yours. Yep, Linwood, Oakman, Linwood and Fenkel. Got it.
And then I think we need to put one on 4th Street near Schaefer near the marathon spot.
I think she got that one too, but I will double
Yeah,
confirm.
we have one at Kimini, but down where the trucks come out of the facility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spring Wells near Fresh Park. Okay.
And I don't know where Angie's original site was like Lanio and Michigan, maybe one block in. It's all residential, so
By the park and the old school.
Yeah,
yes, it's
Romanowski Park. So Lanyo by Romanowski Park. It's Lanyo just south of Michigan Avenue.
I'm like,
Yeah,
that
north of
Romanowski Park. I was like,
So I would like to add right by Saunders and the new Oakwood coming right there's a concentration trucks coming from Marathon and coming from the salt company.
Sorry, say the location again, Teresa.
I think it's Saunders and Old Oakwood.
Okay, by the
But
salt
we
mine,
can
yeah.
pinpoint that because I know that we said that we would do a tour of these hot spots to see and watch.
Okay, perfect.
Between South and Michigan.
well, maybe we can ask, do we have any? I'm typing as you can hear me, Sarah.
So some of these,
I can hear you.
There are multiples in the, in a certain area, and there's some partners that aren't on the call today, so maybe we can send a message to those who didn't get to attend and just see if there are some other spots around.
Okay.
On Central, between like Johnson. Yeah.
Central and Verner.
We definitely want to focus on spring wells. I'm trying to think if there's been a lot of complaints about spring wells.
They turn their own.
Actually, we can also ask the block club. I can reach out to the block club.
I can.
Oh, actually do.
On that, I can go back to Steve, talk with her and the block club meeting. That's, I think it's the 21st.
Yeah.
And get you information on what their monitors.
Yeah, because we've got a lot of complaints at the block club, and so I'm sure you guys are getting too.
Yeah, I was like, instead of Central and Burner, Spring Wells, and that, because they do turn out there. And then have another one down Spring Wells at Fresh Park.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. You said
So instead of Central and Burner, Springwells and Burner, because they do
Springwell's
turn a
and
lot
Burner.
here. And then down Springwells near Fresh Pack, which is closer to 75. So it's two on Springwells within like, it's like a mile and a
And
half.
Josh is
radius.
gonna verify. Josh
Okay.
is gonna verify with, anybody over here? We might, if,
Emily, I see your note. Don't worry about where they currently are. We'll do that work. If you, I just want quick and dirty. What are the top spots? Josh,
Yeah.
you wanna verify?
And
Okay.
that's a lot of different spots that really weren't prioritized. So I don't know if there's a, limited number of monitors and we want to make sure that they get spread across, among our district partners, let us know
Yeah.
what the total opportunity is, and then we can ask, whoever can jump in and give feedback and prioritize, because
Yep, this is GDI is leading the process, but Christy's been pretty hands-on just because she's got most of the knowledge on where the monitors currently are. So I will get this list to her like right now. And if there are others that come in the next couple of days, please, I'll drop my email in the chat, mine and Christy's. Just feel free to email us and we'll see what we can do. But I think that they're going to start doing installations in the next month or so, which means that I think they're all already ordered. So I think they're just sort of sitting ready to be installed. But I'll drop my contact. Yeah, just
can you confirm that, I know previously last couple meetings ago, we talked about moving a monitor to Thomasinia's house on Livernois. So I want to make sure that whatever, if that hasn't happened yet, that higher caliber monitor does get put at her house. Like if this grouping of monitors is better than the one that would get moved from Junction over to her house, then, but I'd want to look that up since Livernois does have the most trucks of all the streets that we just talked about.
Nope, it hasn't moved yet. They are the same monitors that are already out there. They decided to use Clarity for these, which has its pros and cons, but the biggest pro is that they're easy to move and easy to calibrate and all that sort of thing. They come with their own solar. I don't think Thomasina is in the room, right? I didn't see her.
No.
Okay, just making sure because we're getting the new camera Friday or Monday, so I'll be over at her house this weekend or early next week to get that installed so we can finish the testing and development of that product. But at the same time, I can bring over the monitor. Maybe someone will just text you to see if there's anything I need to do to let someone over there know that we're going to go take it and not get called by the police.
Yeah. And so you're saying that the monitor that we get moved from Junction does also measure PM 2.510 and NOx?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, they're the same devices. We're not going to put it on Thomasinia's house, so we might have to do a poll.
Yeah, that's
so that's
time and we went over our time, so I apologize, but thank you. That was a lot of input on this, and we'll be excited to get monitors in for people all over the city. So thanks for getting back to us and letting us know. And we're now at the wrap up, and we just recapped most of what was said in the meeting just recently. So we don't really need to recap it all again. But if there's anything that was missed or haven't really heard, how are you feeling, DHDC, about? Yay! Thank you for hosting us today, especially.
Really good. I'm wondering how the survey, because we know we just got done with the health impact assessment survey with our bridge. So it's like how much of that data could be used for this, so we're not like duplicating whatever it is. But I know that there were people who weren't necessarily part of that big bridge study who wanted to participate in the survey. So there are definitely some gaps, but it's not like we need to completely recreate the wheel.
I think what Rachel's mentioning is there was just a health impact assessment. The phase 2 health impact assessment for the bridge impact area was just completed by DHDC. A huge that was a win from last year, which we didn't mention. And that there's data that was assessed from what was the total number? 200 and how many?
The final survey.
About 230 families spent an hour giving information, so it answered a lot of questions about their health, about economics, you know, about different things, but also some of them live directly on truck routes. And so there's gonna be data that's gonna come from that. I don't know how soon it'll be available, but if it is available, we will definitely use some of those. Those are gonna be really strong points to put into a presentation to council, just as an example. But probably for the truck routes, purpose that we have here, we have to reach a broader area across our district. But I'm glad you're bringing it up because it's definitely going to be valuable information from the work that these two women just completed with an entire team.
I'm just hoping that, I know we've got a couple of grants out in the ether waiting for responses, but I'd love to see it whenever you guys are ready, you know, maybe to present to the group, right? To see what you guys found, but we need it also, we'd love to understand how to apply for money to replicate near the dip, near Livernois, near, you know, so I'd love to understand the costs so that we can constantly be like asking for money, you know, for you know.
There's a broad answer to that. So the first time we did it for a song, and now it's a lot of money for a 3-phase thing. So and
department before we even launched the second phase of the HIA was interested in like having a citywide version of it, right? Like, obviously not the hour-long survey, but alternating it a little bit. So maybe it could be a conversation with her about how they could pitch into that.
She's great to put it on the budget, like we were just talking about. So.
It's just realizing the thing I forgot to mention to Gabby, which we can follow up and let her know, is that another thing on our calendar generally is that on January 29th, from 3 to 4, we're meeting with the health department. So the health department director and staff, that's a meeting that's been set up for us. Carolyn helps to get that on the calendar, and now Nicole. And so that's going to be open to both the Southwest and our whole trucks table. So I think it's a wrap. If there's anything else that we don't have a host yet, we need to put it out since we don't have many groups represented. We need to ask on our list, I think, for the next meeting who can host us. And also get to our strategy planning answers. So.
Right, Simone, I had a question. Could you repeat that? You said January 29th, 3 to 4 meeting with the health director?
Yes, health director and some of her staff. I'm not sure who else.
Okay,
but
who's the health director now?
Denise Ferris, Razzo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Have a great sign off. Beautiful
everyone.
Bye-bye.
All right, see you, everybody.
See you.
Have a good one, y'all.
You too.
No, I started it.